This South Point 400 Betting Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today it is Viva Las Vegas. And we've already lost every listener we had. You're welcome. For those of you who are loyal, it's Vegas, baby. We're going to be up 500 by midnight, and it's time to welcome in the next round of the playoffs and have ourselves a good time rolling the dice in what should be an exciting mile-and-a-half track, Cody.
Yeah, it's 4 races left in the playoffs, rather, in the season completely. We've got tickets available. You can now purchase your ticket for the Final Four. They are up for grabs. Win this race, Rod. You are locked in with a chance to race for a championship. Shit is getting real. We've got 8 drivers left, and hey, it's the elite of the elite. 300 cars, 3 Gibbs cars, 2 Penske cars. You're getting the best of the best in this round of 8. We are in for this. Is going to be a good round. It's going to be a good race at Vegas. I'm pretty pumped for this. This entire round, I think, is going to be very, very exciting this season.
Well, like you said, it's the best of the best going up against each other. And really, these guys have put on shows over the last several weeks, and each of them has their own individual storyline going into it. And honestly, we'll talk about a lot of them today. But it's so compelling to think about what each has going on as they enter this next round. TK checking and saying, "Hey guys, what's up, TK? Good to see you."
Okay.
I think it's Ironemo 18, right? I'm gonna go ahead and guess that.
Close
yeah,
enough.
Welcome in. We haven't seen you before, so welcome into the show.
Yeah.
He says bet against Joey Logano at your own risk. We'll definitely talk about Joey Logano.
We're going to be talking about Joey Logano, Rod. No worries.
We have to. Nico, my buddy from down under, SVG equals king of the road course. I mean, that was never in dispute. And honestly, there's a lot of people that are bad about that still.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an understatement. Hey, he gets it done 5 in a row. Obviously, I think it was Jeff Gordon won 6 or 7 in a row back in the day. Different time, different car, 2 racetracks over multiple seasons, whatever. This is obviously one of the most, if not most impressive run we've ever seen on road courses. He's getting it done, not even in the best cars. It's been very impressive. Easy cash for us this past weekend. It was a little bit of a racy race. I mean, yeah, he wins by 16 seconds or whatever at the end. Pit strategy kind of came into that, right? But I don't think anybody was going to beat him. But it was a good race. I thought we had a really good race at the ROVAL. There was a lot of action and storylines all the way to the end. The Hail Melon 2.0, just not quite enough, Rod.
Well, and listen, JDK, afternoon fellas, making some fantastic points in the Discord as far as what do you expect out of these races. And it's like we said the other week, Cody. I mean, nobody's going to be happy no matter what happens. So I guess if you take away from it that you enjoyed that race, then by all means, I like it, because I'm with JDK. I actually thought it was a pretty decent race overall. I felt like there was enough going on. There was enough for you to keep paying attention to. And yeah, SVG was SVG, but like, you know, you got guys running in the back that need to be running in the front. You got guys that are going to pit that aren't going to pit. Like, you know, the stages were
had
flipping.
Tire wear on a road course. Like, that's not really something we've seen much. Like Goodyear. Holy shit. We can't give enough props to Goodyear. They have been bringing the tires we've been asking for. This is what we want. They had to pit more than they would have in a normal road course, and tire wear actually came into play. That's exactly what you want, and it changed strategies, and it changed the course of the race, and it kept everybody, you know, things were crazy and in a good way, and it made it exciting. So, you know, if you're getting new tires anytime soon, get some Goodyears, because they know what the fuck they're doing over there.
Yeah, and I think we just need to stop as race fans equating the outcome to the whether or not you enjoyed the race, because we all have our own, especially for betting purposes, we all have our own take on how these races play out. But was it entertaining? That's the question. You know what else is entertaining? If I can spit it out, downloading the SGPN app and finding all the great stuff that we've got going on there. There's easy picks to all of our there's easy free access to all of our SGPN picks and podcasts. They change the wording up on this all the time, so it's always like, I don't know, but definitely download the app. You're going to have fun checking out all the good stuff going on in the SGPN world. Truth matters. When Larson hasn't been Larson and Byron ain't Byron, what do you do? Well, we're going to talk about that as well later today.
Talk about both those guys. I mean, really, I think a majority of the playoff guys, the remaining 8 will come up today. I think there's only 1 or 2 guys that aren't actually on the sheet. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot about playoff guys these last couple weeks, and for good reason. Obviously, you know, we're down to what I would say are 8 of the best. I mean, there's not really many outside of this 8. I think Tyler Reddick, talent-wise, yes, team's not there obviously right now, but yeah.
Well, and listen, I mean, and we'll talk about it as well, but like if you look at the average finishes for these guys in the next gen era, most of these 8 are all inside of the playoffs. So of course they're all going to be brought up. Obviously, we know that during these playoff races, it tends to be the playoff drivers that occupy most, if not all, of the top 10 spots. Now, again, 8 drivers can't populate 10 spots. There's 2 left over, but by and large, when you're looking at the chart, you see the highlighted names, and most of them are all up around the top 10 with maybe a couple of stragglers here and there. So it's hard to get away from playoff drivers, especially in this round. So obviously, a lot of our bets are going to fall there because the books know that as well. And so we have to find value other places.
But hey, we might have some surprises. I have a feeling there's some guys on here that you're not going to see coming, Rod, which is always fun. TK checking in says Trackhouse has been improving on road courses. Easily had all 3 cars with top 10 speed, if not for Ross choking on pit road twice. I mean, I would argue Trackhouse has really been good the entire time. All 3 drivers have won on road courses. You know, Suarez has looked great throughout the years on multiple road courses. So has Chastain. And obviously, SVG's done all of his damage in the Trackhouse cars over doing anything really in the Colleague cars. So, yeah, you have to definitely say that they've been a good road course team, I would say. So, JDK says we all know if Elliott wins at the ROVAL, would have been 90% on the Jeff Gluck poll. Well, that's because Chase Elliott is great. He's got comments on Jordan Bianchi. You have to check out the YouTube for that. TK says, to be fair, if you only watch the ROVAL 2024 and then ROVAL 2025, you wouldn't know he has been struggling on road courses this year. True.
It's true. It's true. But listen, and we'll talk about him obviously too. They can't ignore him or some of these other big names on this track, and we will not. So yeah, the ROVAL gone. We're done. We're putting it back now in our back pocket for next year until we all scream again that this was not a good race. But let's turn our attention to Las Vegas, a stone's throw from where I'm at, and the South Point 400, set for 267 laps around this 1.500 mile paved track for 400.500 mile around the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. I swear to God, I'm going to make it to the spring race. Fall's a little difficult because October is Bandtober, and that is when most of the band reviews happen. So I will definitely have to make it out for spring race. But man, Cody, I think that's one that we both need to circle on our calendars for next year.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's Las Vegas, so there is that just in and of itself. But the track is great. We raced here in the spring. Josh Berry picked up his first career win there for the Wood Brothers. And it's a track very similar to Kansas, which we were just at 2 weeks ago. Keep that in mind as we go into betting here, because that's going to probably come up a lot. We have a very, very fresh sister track. I mean, these tracks are just about as close as you can get. I think the Kansas tire wears a little bit more. That surface is just a bit older than Vegas, but they race extremely similarly. They are both from that cookie cutter era where they're almost identical as far as how they are built. So, and you saw the racing we got at Kansas, right? Yes, Denny Hamlin led a lot of laps, but there was kind of battles throughout the thing. And then obviously we got the crazy finish at the end. You were able to see guys run multiple lines. All that was great. So, I'm pretty pumped for this race, Rod. There's 38 entries for the Cup Series. Your 36 regulars, along with JJ Yaley, the 2009 F1 champ. He is going to be in the 44 car for NY Racing. By the way, he's got a ride coming up in the 7 Spire truck at Talladega next week. So that's pretty exciting for the former Formula One champion. And Catherine Legg, she's going to be making her return to the Cup Series in that 78 for Live Fast Motorsports and BJ McLeod, of course. So be good to see her back in the field. She's definitely been improving her last couple of runs.
No leg lift this weekend, by the way. I just want you to know that. The person that touted leg lifts is no longer with us. So RIP to that. And I don't know. And RIP to like,
boy, that was a fun 2 months.
That guy was a bunch of fun. Listen, I welcome fun, you guys. So if there's more fun people out there, let's do this. It is not
and if you have a gambling problem,
please call the number.
Please.
No trucks this weekend, by the way. It's just Xfinity and Cup. So just for those of you guys who are keeping score, that will be what we talk about in the next coming days, where we have Xfinity. Hopefully the odds come out better. But yeah, so this is just a two horse weekend for Xfinity and Cup. Obviously, nobody's driving both of them. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no double dippers, no double duty. So like we mentioned at the top, Rod, it does reset to 8 drivers now. So we lopped off 4. They are no longer with us. RIP to them. Austin Cindric was one of those drivers. Ross Chastain, valiant effort there at the end. He did not make it. Bubba Wallace did not make it. And his teammate Tyler Reddick also did not make the cut. So those 4 drivers are out. They're done. Now, remember, they can all still race for 5th place in the point standings, because the 12 who don't make the championship 4 are all kind of re-put, or the points are still accumulated based on what the original reset was. Long, convoluted story, but they can still all finish for 5th place, up to 5th place, even though they were eliminated beforehand. So fun little fact for that. But we've got the 8 final drivers. As I mentioned, it's 3 JGR cars, 3 Hendrick cars, 2 Penske cars, and it's very close. Denny Hamlin is the point standings leader, 8 playoff points above the cut line, or 8 points above the cut line. That is not much at all. There is no mulligans in this round. And we've got Talladega next week. So the fact that Talladega itself is next week, every driver wants to win this weekend at Las Vegas. You've got to bring your best stuff. First of all, you got to try and win, because if you win, you don't have to worry about Vegas. You don't have to worry about Martinsville. You're already locked into Phoenix. Like Joey Logano last year, you can go start working on that Phoenix car the next day, and you've got a 2-week head start on everybody else, which is very nice to have, and obviously worked out well for Joey last year, and has for him in the past as well. So a win gets you in. Even a good points day is really good, because you might need a little bit of a buffer going into Talladega next week. We know some of these guys are going to get caught up in that stuff, so watch out. But Denny Hamlin, +8 to the good. Ryan Blaney, 6 to the good. Larson and Byron, both 4 to the good. Christopher Bell is just 4 to the bad. Elliott's 14 below. Briscoe's 14 below. And Joey Logano's 24 below. 24, looking at this, you're like, oh, it's a long ways out. It is not a long ways out at all. That can very, very quickly be made up. But you're going to have to get more than just the cut line, because likely we're going to have, I would imagine we have a playoff winner this week, and at Martinsville, Talladega, we'll see. Certainly could be, but you know how the Talladega craziness can go. So, yeah, this is it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good run to the Final Four.
And what we've seen so far in this playoffs and in this season is that they're just, the gloves are off. Like nobody cares anymore. It just feels like, to me, there is just not show friends, it's show money at this point. And everybody, I mean, now granted, it's like that all the time, but I don't know what it is about this season in particular, but it feels like that has just been ramped up to where nobody cares anymore. It's just, we are going to do what's best for us. You know, we'll sue you if you don't get it.
Look at the last 3 weeks, Rod. Last week, Suarez lets Logano pass him for a stage point. Arguably the difference in that, because he could have let Denny go at the end there. 2 weeks ago, Denny passes Bubba, eliminates him from this round, which he would have made when Denny owns that car. The week before that, Ty Gibbs racing both Denny and Christopher Belhart as teammates. Not a little love lost between teammates right now. And, you know, at this point, all these guys have teammates that are in this, and well, you're trying to beat your teammates. So a lot of the friendly stuff out the window, I think, this week. Maybe some of it next week, of course, with the drafting and Talladega. But every man for himself.
I'm about to watch Jerry Maguire. I just made myself all excited about Jerry Maguire, so I'm going to go watch that. Not until I finish this episode, not before we give you the picks that we're going to give you for this Las Vegas race. But before we do any of that, allow me to tell you about our friends over at MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on football and everything else. A prop builder, second to none, my friends. Their motto is bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. I've put that to the test, you guys. I know exactly what we're talking about, and I've given you plenty of fun bets over the course of the year. There's easy deposit and lightning fast payout using cryptocurrency. I know, I like to go out of the box a little bit, but I'm going to thump my chest a little bit. San Francisco 49ers backups beating the Rams last week. So excited about that in the NFL. Well, now guess what? They're going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're 3-point underdogs. Give me the 49ers and the 3 points. My bookie's got this at minus 115. Plus, they've got them plus 127 to win the game outright. Hell yeah. Give me the San Francisco 49ers. I don't care if Baker Mayfield is playing like a man possessed, like he's playing like Joe Montana back in the day. I'm still taking the 49ers back up over the world. So give me them over on MyBookie. Head to mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by NoVig. NoVig is America's #1 sports prediction market. NoVig, you're getting the best prices. Got to tell you, man, the reduced juice on a bet. Eagles were 7.5-point favorites at minus 103 right now. You got to go take that. NoVig is available in 35 plus states. Download the NoVig app and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in the action with NoVig. Promo code SGPN. So we read off of a doc just behind baseball, right? There's a document that we pull up that has all of our ad reads on it. As I'm reading the ad read, it is being changed. So if I stumbled on that one, I was literally reading it as it was changing. So,
it's a living, breathing document. Sean decided that right in the middle of our show, it's time to update it.
Never had that happen to me before, where the ad read completely starts changing right in the middle of me reading it. It's just so fantastic. This is professional podcasting at its finest.
That's great. All right, Rod, let's catch up with the chat one more time. Mark is checking in, says hi. He wants to know who everybody's pick to win is at Las Vegas. You guys can share your picks in the chat as always. He predicts Christopher Bell is going to win at Vegas. Dominated this race last year, leading 155 laps. Won stage 2 before finishing. Not in the win. He got second place to one Joseph Logano, who I think it's Geronimo, similar to Geronimo.
I like it.
That's what I'm going with. But who knows? Don't just save it all. We're getting there. Calm down. And Kylie, you save it too, because yes, Chase Briscoe is due, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But yeah,
let's get to those picks because everybody's already given them in the chat, so you might as well give them out now.
Exactly. Well, Kylie, great time to bring up one Chase Briscoe. I'm going to take him over on the Caesars. You can get him over William Byron plus 110. ESPN has this also plus 105, a little bit of a shorter number. But, give me Chase Briscoe over William Byron at minus 110. Looking at this, William Byron's been really good at Las Vegas, so I will give him that. He was 4th place here in the spring. Last year in the fall race, he was also 4th, 10th place in the race before that, 7th, won here in March of 23. So all the flowers for Byron being good here in track history. Briscoe, if you look at his track history, not good, right? 17th here in the spring, first mile. This would have been, first mile and a half with JGR before he knew anything about these cars, how to drive these cars. So I'm not going to look too deep at that. 26th, 21st, 33rd, but toss it all out because that was with Stuart Haas. And we know that those cars, not comparable. The team just wasn't half of what this team is. He did have a 4th place finish here in October of 22. So given a good car, back when Harvick was getting good cars and stuff, he did run well here. So I like that. Martin Truex Jr., who drove this 19 car previously, and Chase Briscoe's been good everywhere that Martin Truex Jr. was good. 6th place here last fall, 7th place the race before that, 9th, 7th. Truex had 9 top 10s in a row and 14 of the last 15 races at Las Vegas inside of the top 10. So that 19 team got a pretty good booklet on how to make this car fast, make this car good. So I like that. But then what tips the scales for me, besides the plus money part of this, is you look at mile and a halves or somewhat similar tracks this season. Go back to Kansas a couple weeks ago, 4th place for Chase Briscoe. Yeah, there was the late chaos and stuff, but that's where he was running all day. He was a 4th place car running that well. William Byron finished 9th place, and I literally wrote, I do the paper notes here. I literally wrote next to it, lucky. It was a lucky 9th place finish. He was about a 28th place car all day. They could not figure that car out. It was horrible. That was just 2 weeks ago at the closest comparison track you're going to possibly get, where they were out to lunch the entire day. Luck got him at the end there. The crashes, the late caution, all that stuff. Ends up salvaging a decent day in 9th place. But don't be tricked. He was not that good. Chase Briscoe won Darlington intermediate race, 21st place finish for William Byron. Indianapolis, a bigger intermediate. You can kind of, I'm not really looking too deep into this. 18th for Briscoe, not a good day, but 16th for Byron. So not a good day for him there either. So that one's kind of a wash. Pocono, bigger track. Chase Briscoe wins. 27th for William Byron. Struggling on these big tracks. The Coke 600 is kind of the one outlier for Byron other than the spring race here where he finished 2nd place. Long race, good run for him there. But Briscoe was right there with him. 3rd place at Charlotte. You go back to the Kansas spring race, not too long after that Vegas run. 24th for William Byron there. 4th place for Chase Briscoe. So, yes, Byron was good here in the spring, and he's been good here on this track, so I'll give him credit for that. But since then, on mile and a halfs and intermediates, he's not been good. He's been dog shit, honestly, and really, really bad 2 weeks ago at Kansas. It's hard for me not to look at that race and say, hopefully they, I guess for their sake, just completely throw everything of that car out and start with something new because it was really bad. But Briscoe's been amazing on all these mile and a halfs. This is a track that Truex has been great at. And you're getting plus money. You can't beat that. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if both these guys are in the top 8 with the other playoff guys at the end of the day. But getting plus money on a coin toss, if you look at history here, but mile and a half this year, it goes in Briscoe's favor. You know how much money we've made betting Briscoe this year, how much we love betting on him. I'm going to ride that train. So give me Chase Briscoe over William Byron, plus 110.
Yeah, and really, when I was looking through this and trying to figure out the angle, and I know there was those I saw that head-to-head too, and I thought it was so close, but Briscoe has been the better, and you can't really compare it to the past years because Briscoe in the 19 has turned it on, and like you said, William Byron just feels like whatever spark he had that got him in there is just maybe they're missing the setups, and it's not
Byron is such an odd case. And Bianchi brought up this year because they were talking on the teardown. Bianchi brought up, William Byron would be the points leader or whatever if it was the old system. He's not even been that good this year, and then people were calling him out. Well, he's led the 2nd most laps this year, which I didn't even realize. He's not been, but a lot of that was back in the spring and in the summertime when Byron tends to be better earlier in the year. Lately, and we're very recency biased in everybody's opinions on NASCAR. It's all about right now, right? And he's not been as good lately. But Briscoe, on the other hand, it was the opposite. Not as good to start, but he's been so much better lately. I'm just going to continue to ride that with Chase Briscoe and take.
I suppose
the
when
plus
you've
money.
driven a Nissan, I don't know what, or a Toyota, whatever the lowest form of Toyota is, and then you end up starting to drive whatever the high. I don't even know Toyotas other than whatever they drive, but then it's tough, right? You're a quality car versus a junker, and you're like, oh wait, this actually responds to the wind. Oh,
Yeah.
get it.
Well, and that's what
Mhm.
Briscoe said at the beginning of the season. He's like, I don't even know how to drive a car that's this good because he'd never been in that good of equipment in his entire life. And he was right because he figured it out. And holy shit, look at the results. It's been drastically better than anything he ever did in his career. So, yeah, again, we'll talk about it later, but the books just keep forgetting about. I don't know. For a guy that's in competition to win all these races, they just keep disrespecting the man, and I'm here for that. I like it.
So
You
you're
keep that up,
saying when I
folks.
push the gas pedal, the car actually does go. Oh,
It does what it's supposed to do.
What a
That's
cheat
so
code.
crazy. Hunter checking in says, "What's up, guys? Cash big off SVG last week, and shout out to whoever posted the even car winner plus 250 over on Hard Rock. Hammered that. A bunch of people did. It seemed like all the books actually honored that. So doing the
did I say that?
responsible
Did I
thing.
give that up? That's
So,
sort of unofficial.
well, remember somebody in the chat.
Somebody in the
chat
said it. Yeah,
had
because we were talking
posted
about
that.
SVG.
Yes, I can't. Sorry, I can't remember who it was,
Yeah.
but shout out to you. And then so we kind of gave it out, and a bunch of people went. And then I know JDK found it on Bet99 in Canada, so it was out a couple places that kind of used the same thing, and they did honor that. So Larson gave you a little bit of a scare there for a second. Maybe that wasn't going to cash, but never really in doubt with captainship.
No, sirree. All right. Well, what do we say? Geronimo 18 saying, including a clutch playoff victory last fall, Logano has earned 4 wins, 8 top 5s, and 14 top 10 finishes, 24 career starts in Las Vegas. Thank you, Geronimo. You just made my point. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Cody for the next bet. No, I'm just kidding. That leads perfectly into my first bet. Yes, it is Joey Logano. I'm taking him over Chase Elliott. He is actually the underdog in this matchup. Joey Logano is. So minus 105 for Joey Logano over Chase Elliott over on ESPN Bet. I believe that number's still there. I got it this morning. Could have hammered it down by now. Let's go check and make sure that it's there. But listen, like Geronimo just said, right? The Joey Logano's track record speaks for itself here. He is actually 5th overall in terms of average finishes on the heat chart provided by our friends over at iFantasyRace.com. Thank you, Ryan, as always, for doing the hard work so that I can just sit here and read off it and sound smart. But Joey Logano, right? I mean, look, 15th place in the spring, but he and Chastain were fighting over the lead and had a lot going on until he fell off. So definitely a contender in that race as well. But before that, he won 9th place, 12th place, 36th place in 2023. Sometimes you have to drop a hammer on your foot to, just sort of pick yourself back up again. But he had won the race before, 14th before that. Chase Elliott, on the other hand, average finish on this track of 19.5. Finished 10th in the spring. That's fine, but 33rd, 12th, 32nd. Did not get a chance to race in the spring of 2023 because of his injury, but 21st before that and 9th. So really, if you want to look at it, I mean, there's only 2 top 10 finishes in that span in the next gen era for Chase Elliott, 1 borderline top 10. But here's the thing, and I understand that both of these drivers have great history as of late, right? I mean, obviously Chase Elliott have that big win at Kansas a couple of weeks back, which is probably why he is the favorite in this matchup. An 8th place finish at the Roval, 5th place at Loudon, 3rd place at Gateway. A pretty disappointing day at Bristol where he finished 38th. Joey Logano, 5th place at Gateway, 5th place at Bristol, 4th place at Loudon, 21st at Kansas, and then 20th at the Roval. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm just taking Joey Logano and his success at this track, and I'm using that as my handicap because both of these guys, you can argue, have been among the best. Obviously, they're both playoff drivers, so both of them are going to be jockeying for a top 10 spot, a top 5 spot in some cases, maybe even a top 3 spot, maybe even the win. Who knows? But I will say that I believe that Joey Logano, especially now, right? This is the time of the playoffs where it's Joey Logano time. Now, again, I know it's not an even year. I understand it's 2025, so he won't win the championship, but he can get there.
I don't know. He's made it a lot farther than he seems to usually in the even years.
That's true.
So
That's
we'll see. or the
odd years. Yeah. So, I mean, look, it's odd year Joey Logano. Take it with a grain of salt. But I do believe that at least in this first round, the edge goes to Joey Logano just because he has such a great track record here. Whereas Chase Elliott, not necessarily been his favorite track overall. You know, this last top 10 notwithstanding.
Yeah. It's been kind of one of his worst tracks, honestly. This is a very interesting one. I'm very curious to see this because 2 weeks ago at Kansas, Elliott was a fast car. You know, he wins the race, but it's right position at the right time at the end. But he was also fast throughout the day. I mean, he was up there mixing up with the leaders, led some laps. So it's not like he completely came out of nowhere. Logano was not. I mean, he wasn't really up there mixing it up at all. But you go back to the spring here, Josh Berry wins in a Penske car. We saw Penske cars have a ton of speed on 1.5 miles early in the season. Can that carry over here? You know, Logano's been pretty good at this track, although he was not good here last fall. He won this race on fuel mileage because he Scott Dixon did and stretched it out. But they were not a good car. They threw a Hail Mary and won, and he goes on to win the championship after he lucked into getting into the round because of the Bowman failure. Like, all the stars aligned for him, right? But so it'll be interesting. You know, Elliott's not been good here really, but he's been good at similar amount of halves. He's really good at Kansas both races this year. I'm very interested to see where this one goes and which kind of holds out, like track history, recency, which part of things kind of line up and go in their favor, I guess, in this one. Because you could make, I think, fairly decent cases for both sides of this. But I, as Eronimo said earlier, am not going to be fading one Joseph Logano until he is eliminated. Results are final. We've double, triple checked and quadruple made sure everything is done. Otherwise, I don't think you can go.
We've checked the weight on all of the cars and everything. TK wants to know if Elliott does have a good track. He's just kind of good everywhere. Yeah, but that's the lure of Chase Elliott. He's good everywhere, right? And there's not.
He really, he is just good in all track types, road courses, super speedways. Like, he is really just good everywhere. I don't know that there's like a great track that kind of stands out. There's a couple places he's better at for sure, but he is a solid all-around race car driver,
yep.
No doubt.
JDK saying just check the point standings for NASCAR and SVG is 12th. This is true, Cody and Rod. I will confirm that it is true.
Yes. Yeah, he is 12th because again, they, you know, once you're eliminated, you're re-put into the pool, and so those top 16 are essentially going from the reset 2,000 points. They reset everybody to 2,000 points plus their payout points at the beginning of the 10 races, and then you're earning points. So even though you've been eliminated, I mean, he obviously picked up stage points last week and picked up the win, and all that stuff kind of helps him. So yeah, he's beating Alex Bowman since the resets, obviously. You know, in these playoffs here, and you know, top 10 at Kansas a couple weeks ago. Who knows? Maybe he'll end up being good here. I know TK was kind of talking about that here a few minutes ago in the chat as well. All right, Rod, are we ready?
I am ready for more bets, but I am also ready and anxious and wanting to tell you so much about our friends officially over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is a great place to play fantasy pick'em, where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite player's stats. It's available in a ton of sports. You don't believe me? How about the Disc Golf Pro Tour? You've heard me talk about this before. We're back at it again. Underdog is giving us the finishing positions for our favorite Pro Disc Golf Tour members. Missy Gannon, her finishing position for the tournament of the Throw Pink with DG Championships, it's set at 4.5. I am going to take the better than. You can actually get 1.03 times your entry on this one. Better than 4.5 for Missy Gannon. I mean, listen, when you finish first, second in your last 4 tournaments, I mean, that's all better than 4.5, right? So, I mean, how can you not take the better than 4.5 for her to finish in this one? Yeah, she finished 5th, 8th, 7th, 23rd, but 3rd, 8th, 2nd, 1st, 4th. I'm telling you right now, Missy Gannon, a cheat code in Underdog this week for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So go take that cheat tour and sign up with our promo code SGPN. Underdog's got a brand new offer. Customers, you play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. Let's tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. The NFL is back, baby, and Rhythm is crushing it in college football and the NFL with picks and props. They went 8-2 on passing prop overs in week 5 and 5-0 on Dylan Gabriel debut props. Woo, let's go Browns. even though that's not happening again this week. Rhythm is also giving away weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build, and you could win $1,000. Let's talk about the predictions for the Bills and the Falcons. Rhythm is giving us a total prediction of 51.5 total points. My bookie is giving us 49.5 on the over-under. Guess what? That means Rhythm is telling me to take the over on the Bills and Falcons games. Probably most of it's coming from a pissed-off Bills team that wants to come out and crush the Falcons. So maybe the Bills just cover that 51 by themselves. You don't have to worry about the Falcons. But whatever it is, go head over on Rhythm and take advantage of that. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25.
Well, why are the Buffalo Bills pissed off, Rod? What happened?
Well, did you not hear? There's a lot of people that lost this weekend, and
They got their ass beat by the New England Patriots. We're so fucking back. Drake May is the next coming. Oh, I love football.
it's so crazy. Like, it just, to me, I do love football, by the way. I love, I love all sports, but like, it amazes me sometimes when weeks like this just kind of happen. Every undefeated team goes down. Like,
Yeah.
you just,
yeah.
the Niners win with the
Well,
backups
it's so
and
funny 'cause,
everybody was
like,
broken. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
I didn't think you had a shot. I was talking to my buddy, Denver fan, and I was like, we're talking Sunday morning. We're like, yeah, neither of us really have a shot today. They pull out the win, we pull out the win, and it's like now you're seeing people comparing Drake May and Tom Brady's first 18 games, and you're like, okay, I'm excited too, but let's pump the brakes.
Right? If you put it in NASCAR terms, just make sure that brake is not squishy in this case. So, is that what Rod was blowing up Twitter about?
Yeah, Rod was very spicy on the X this week. I have the notifications turned on, Rod. So when you tweet, I get the little notifications about your tweets. And you did not like the officials. Refs are terrorist shirts were coming out for that Patriots game. But I thought they were doing a fine job.
For both sides, though. Listen,
it was bad. It was really bad on both sides. We had bad calls against us, bad calls against them. Talk about bad officials. Chiefs were really getting all the breaks last night. Didn't work out for them. They could be 2-4 after this week. What a beautiful thing. Okay. All right, Rod. Let's get off the football talk. Back to the racing talk. Hunter parlayed Corey, Connor, and SVG to win this week. Super chalky, but we told you last week it was going to be a chalky week, and look what happened. So, JC checking in. Hi, guys and gals. Hi, JC. Good to see you. Always nice of you to join us. We appreciate it. All right, Rod, I'm going to head over to the top 5 market, and I'm going to take one James Dennis, Sal, and Hamlin. Even money, top 5 finish. It's just pretty much as easy as that. If you look back through his Las Vegas results, you might be like, well, why are you going to take his top 5? 25th here in the spring, kind of a rough day, but 8th, 10th, 11th, 5th, hanging around, I guess, kind of throughout the time. Before the next gen car, very good here. Won the final old gen car race here with 137 laps led. But not the greatest track record here, but leaning into what have you done for me lately? What have you looked like lately? Look, 2 weeks ago at Kansas, JGR was on. They were the team to beat. They were the best team by far. Denny had the best car. He led a shit ton of laps, 159 of them. Started second, swept the stages, on his way to winning late. You get the late caution, all the drama. Almost still beats Bubba, ends up wrecking both of them and doesn't win, but has a good day. And if you had his outright that day and he didn't hit, well, maybe you got the top 5 at even money. You still cash out nicely. So I like that. So coming off the second place, that's such a comparable track just 2 weeks ago. It's hard for me to look past that because it was a great run, right? Darlington a couple of weeks ago. Granted, Southern 500 doesn't race exactly like this, but 7th place run. He was real close to it. Indianapolis, Brickyard 400. He had a 3rd place run there. Bigger track, right? If you're kind of looking that way. Pocono, same story there. 2nd place. Michigan, often referred to by Ryan as, Kansas is mini Michigan. Kansas, Vegas, the same. Michigan, close as well. He won that race. Started 3rd, had a great day, won the race. Going back to Charlotte, tougher day there, longer race, fine. Kansas in the spring was tough on him, but obviously that was just mechanical issues. They fought back through that and had a good run here. So been very good on the 1.5 miles, the bigger tracks this season. something, I don't know, something feels different about Denny this year. He does not give a fuck. He's not worried about manipulating the playoffs. Bring Joey Logano in there. Let's go beat the best of the best. He's not worried about getting the car he owns in. Don't care. I'm looking out for me. I'm going for 60. I think he's going to have a badass car this weekend. I think they're going to be fast. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. But if he doesn't, he's going to be top 5 or very fucking close to it at even money. I will take that. And then, Rod, I'm going to jump over to the top 10 market. I got more top. Actually, a couple top 5s in here, but they're kind of in with some other bets later on, so we'll get to those in a few. Jump over to the top 10 market quick, though. I'm going to go with Ross Chastain. It's minus 125, so kind of a chalky number, especially for somebody who just got eliminated. But I don't know if you saw that post-race interview. He was pretty fucking pissed off at himself, and I think that is going to light a fire under Ross Chastain's ass. We've had 7 races in the next-gen era here. Ross Chastain has the best average finish of all drivers throughout 7 races, a pretty good sample size. 5.4 is his average finish, Rod. Last time I checked, that is inside of the top 10, which he's been inside of the top 10 in 6 of the 7 next-gen races here. You mentioned it earlier, battling for the lead late with, I don't remember who it was, with Joey, right? In the spring race here, led 14 laps, finished in 5th place, 7th here last fall, 4th, 5th, a horrible 12th place finish back in March of 23. That's the only one outside of the top 10 in the next-gen era. 2nd in October of 22, 3rd in March of 22. Led laps back in those 22 races too, 83, 68 laps. So, yeah, limited from the playoffs. Some people you might look at and be like, well, time for them to check out. Like, I'd be real concerned about betting Tyler Reddick the next few weeks. He's obviously got things going on in his personal life. He's been well known to check out early when he's not in the playoffs anymore. So, but Ross Chastain, not that guy. 5th-generation watermelon farmer. He's getting back to the the grind, and he is going to be going for it this week. Best average finish in the next-gen era, minus 125. You don't always love, but we make these bets every week in football. Don't sweat it. He's top 10 6 or 7 times, and 12th is the other finish at this track. And he was pretty good a couple of weeks ago at Kansas. So yeah, I'm riding with one Roshua Chastain this weekend. Kansas, by the way, 11th, so just outside of that top 10. But he's been strong this year. 6th place at Michigan again. The next closest comp track, he won the Coke 600, of course. So in 5th place back here in the spring. Very, very good this year for Ross Chastain on the mile and a halves, and really good at this track in particular. So give me Ross Chastain top 10, along with that Denny Hamlin top 5.
Cody didn't look up in the dock and see a couple of boxes down that had Ross. Actually, he did, because he actually put it in his bet.
Oh, I did, because I had, yeah. You didn't claim the top 10. That's true. On you, Rod. But I did take it in of myself. Found another bet that I like on Ross Chastain, and I was like, you know what, Rod might like this. So I'm going to give it to him in case he.
Well, listen, I will like it because I am going to actually up the ante on that. I'll just skip ahead to that one because if we're talking Ross Chastain already, you want him as a top 10. I actually love his top 5 number at 3-1 over on ESPN. And obviously, Cody tossed in that top Chevy in my little box as well. I found it at 8-1 actually over on ESPN. So you had it at 7. I found it at 8. So top Chevy 8-1. Listen, I mean, look, Ross Chastain, like you said, has been fantastic at Las Vegas. Not only has he been a top 10 car in that span, but he's been a top 5 car in 5 out of those 7 and missed the top 5 only by 2 spots in that 2024 fall race. So Ross Chastain with a 5.43 average finish on this track. You already sung his praises about everything he's done. I do believe that this recency of the oval disappointment and not making the playoffs now has just freed Ross Chastain. And listen, so when you talk about drivers that have really nothing to drive for anymore, right? I mean, obviously Ross Chastain, everything to drive for, can still try to place, where he is in the points and all that other good stuff. But, the pressure of the playoffs is over. And we've seen that time and time again with these guys, especially on tracks that they're good at. So you've got the perfect storm brewing of a track that he is historically good at. Because, I mean, like we said, we can take a look back at the season and just sort of extrapolate a bunch of stuff that we want to. But when you look at this one track in particular, there's some places that people love to go hit as a hitter, right? There's some places that people love to pitch as a pitcher or play as a football player. There's just some places where people feel more comfortable to perform that in which they perform, right? Like I feel more comfortable sitting in this office than I do out on location when I have to go. I perform better here than I do on the road. So with Ross Chastain, that's the mentality of it all. And so when you take him as a top 5 car at 3-1, I like that upping it. And then top Chevy, look, again, can Kyle Larson come out and win this race? Absolutely. Can Chase Elliott come out and do something? Yeah. But if Ross Chastain is finishing in the top 5, think of the guys like Logano that we talked about earlier. Think of Denny Hamlin, who we just talked about as well. Think of all these guys, these Chevys and these Fords and Toyotas that can get in his way. Ryan Blaney, which we haven't even talked about at all this. I mean, granted, he probably won't do much here because he's not that good here. But if he does end up being good, like he's been good lately, right? There's 3 of the 4 of the top 5 spots right there, right? And all we need is for one more Toyota Briscoe to slide in there. And now all of a sudden, if Ross Chastain finishes 5th, he's the top Chevy, and 8-1. That's a good gamble for that. I like that. So JC saying he's always aggressive for sure, and it works out a lot of times. It almost worked out for him at the ROVAL. So, all he needed to do was just get past Hamlin and not have Hamlin wreck him. We're good to go.
So close. Yeah, and Hunter too, plus 110 for Ross, the top 10 over on ESPN. So much better number. I don't know how I missed that one or forgot to update it or what, but it is available over there on ESPN. So yeah, go get that because that's not going to last as people start talking about it throughout the week. It's going to jump up. And I think, man, if you get plus money, I would have taken it at minus 125. Don't tell anybody, Rod. But plus 110, that's even better. So, and then, yeah, with the top Chevy one, that's the one I kind of tossed in there for you. I didn't have a good spot to give it out on my side of things, but look, Chevys were good at Kansas. Elliott was good. Larson was not bad, other than he's shook at times, right? But obviously they end up winning with Elliott, but it's not like they were run away. We've already kind of talked about William Byron. 8-1 to beat maybe those 3 Hendrick cars. Is there any other Chevys you're super concerned about? As I look through your list here, no, there's not. So me either.
Just kidding.
Hey,
whatever. Shut up. All right, let's go to your next bet then, Cody.
Yes, real quick, TK as well. Are we fading Legacy again, falling off a cliff? I don't know that I'm fading them, but I'm not touching them right now either. It's been a rough couple of weeks. I don't know what happened over there, unfortunately, but hopefully they figure some stuff out, and they'll just have to do it without me being on them. So another guy, just eliminated from the playoffs. You can make a case one way. I'm going to make a case the other way. Bubba Wallace. I'm still all in on Bubba Wallace. I'm going to take his top 5 at 4-1. Also, you can get his top 10 at plus 110. So I'm going to take both of these. A couple of top 5s I really like this week. I'm not usually a big top 5 guy, but I will say he's not been overly great at this track lately. 28th here in the spring. He did lead 20 laps and 4th in both stages. So toss that out there. I don't remember what happened. I don't have that right in front of me, but bad finish, but was running well. And that was kind of where it was like, oh, okay, mile and a half, 23:11, and then it wasn't so much. 12th place, though, here last fall, so not a bad run, right? 35th here in the spring, so maybe he's just not good in the spring. I don't know. But 2023, 13th and 4th in those 2 races, so that was good. Not the best in 2022, but we've seen before that when 23:11 or one of these 23:11 drivers, whether it be Kurt Busch or Bubba Wallace or Tyler Reddick, get hot at these mile and a halves, they've got something figured out and they start clicking. And we just saw Bubba Wallace, a corner away from winning at Kansas a couple weeks ago and being in this round. If he still has something to prove, if he go out and win this race, imagine him, in victory lane at the end of this race, having won this and had Denny not taking him out, locking his spot in the championship 4. Like he wants to go out there and do that just to prove that he should be a championship 4 driver. Right. And the mentality he's been racing with and everything that's been just going his way this year. It's been a really great season for him overall. But the speed from Kansas a couple of weeks ago cannot be ignored. Only led 13 laps, but he was running well throughout the entire day. Chance to win it there at the end. So really, that's kind of what's got me in on him. Also, though, if you want to go back and look, 6th place run at Darlington. That's an intermediate track. Indianapolis, Brickyard 400, right? Leads 23 laps, wins that race. So a good run there. Had a tough day at Pocono, but 4th place at Michigan. So the other closest comp track. Very good there as well. Charlotte was rough. Texas was really bad back in the springtime, and Vegas wasn't great. Kansas in the spring was rough, but down the stretch, they figured it out. And Toyota, again, seemed to really be hitting at Kansas. They were clearly the best manufacturer in 4 or 5 different cars. And so Bubba Wallace just to finish in the top 10 at plus money. That's great. You get the top 5 at 4-1. Spoiler alert, we're going to bet on him again later, but we'll get to that in a little bit, Rod. So, yeah, give me Bubba Wallace top 10 and top 5.
And again, it's that whole thing where when you think about where you were at and where you could have been, that's motivation to just really get it in. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We're seeing a different side of Bubba Wallace as, he's not calling his owner out for being a jackass, even though he wanted to. He wanted to call out the move as being a jackass move, but he didn't, right? He stopped himself from saying the word jackass and his boss at the same time. But no, listen, I really do. Top 10 is really not that high of a threshold for what is a good team and a good car. So I do like that one. And, again, for Bubba Wallace, we've seen if he's in the top 10, could find himself in the top 5 and go. This is just good numbers overall for both of these. So I like Bubba and I like him this weekend. Speaking of guys that wear their heart on their sleeve, how about AJ Allmendinger? I can't say it like Diffie. I wish I could. I wish I had his accent. But AJ Allmendinger, I'm going to take him as a top 10 car at plus 550 ? Over on ESPN. You're almost getting 6-1 on AJ Allmendinger, who finished 8th place here the last time he took this track in the 16 car. There are certain times. Okay. And this is more just because of the way that this is shifted out. It's not because he's been overly amazing here. He's got 2 top 10 finishes in his 4 career starts in the next gen era on this track with an 8th place and a 9th place, 18th and 21st on the outside of that. Average finish of 14, by the way, in his 4 races here. Puts him 9th overall on the chart, but that's because he doesn't have nearly as many races overall. However, AJ Allmendinger is just one of those guys where, he can do this and he can do it all the time. It just, on the road courses, yeah, you expect him to do it, but he's good on ovals as well. Proof positive. Like I said, that top 10 finish in Las Vegas early in the spring. Followed up with a 7th place finish at Miami, another 1.5 miles, just a couple of, or just actually the very next week after that. Charlotte, a 4th place finish after starting in 5th. So again, AJ Allmendinger on these 1.5 miles, we tout him as a road course guy. We tout him as somebody who's always a threat to win on road courses, which, by the way, anymore, you can't really say that with SVG Hog in the limelight. But we forgot that AJ Allmendinger does know how to drive on these 1.5 miles. And granted, lately it hasn't been all the best. He did finish 9th at the ROVAL. That's fine. He crashed out of the Kansas race after 216 laps, unfortunately. Had engine troubles earlier in the season at the first Kansas race, so didn't get a chance to really turn in a good finishing position there. But look, AJ Allmendinger should not be, and I mean not be, plus 5. This is the same thing as the Christian Eckes thing from a couple of weeks ago, or actually last week when we talk about him at 7-1 for a top 5 on the ROVAL. Should not be this price, because if it's a coin flip, Cody, and you're giving me plus 550 to just flip a coin and whether or not he's going to finish in the top 10 when he just did it recently, the last time he was on this track, that is way in your favor. This is a one where the odds makers are just kind of looking back at AJ Allmendinger's overall performance this season and not taking into account the fact that he's been good on these 1.5 miles and was recently good at Las Vegas earlier in the spring. They're just kind of saying, well, he's had a few bad finishes. We'll just give him plus 550 because he shouldn't be good on this one. Nope. Take full advantage of this. AJ Allmendinger, top 10. Top 10. We're not even asking for a top 5. Yeah. Just a top 10 at plus 550.
Yeah, no, I love this bet. You made a bunch of great points. We've talked a ton about AJ this year. They've been running well. That team's been running well. Ty Dillon finished 13th at Kansas. So, if he can do a 13th at Kansas, AJ could certainly do a top 10 here at Las Vegas. So I like it. All right, Rod, next up for me, we're going to go over to Daniel Suarez. This might not be one you had on your bingo card for us to talk about today, but I'm going to take his top 10 plus 450. I think that's a great number. Then I'm even feeling a little spicy. I'm going to take his top 5 at 14-1. Suarez, not a guy we've talked about a lot this season, especially not down the stretch here. But you look at Las Vegas, he's really liked this track. He is 6th in the next gen era for active drivers. It is 9th overall because Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Truex are all above him, but none of those guys are still racing, endless races, all that fun stuff. 6th in active drivers for average finish here at Las Vegas, 13.4. So he's had a really good run here, including second place in the spring. We talked about his teammate Ross Chastain being really good here back in the spring, and really throughout his career, or throughout the next gen era here, been very good. Second place here for Daniel Suarez in the spring. Was that a fluke? Well, he finished third place here in the fall of last year, leading 57 laps. Okay, and then you look back before that, March of 24, 11th place, led 15 laps, so just outside of the top 10. 15th here in October of 23, 10th here in March of 23, 16th here in October of 22, and then he had a 35th first race here in the next gen era, so that's dragging down that average finish, because after that, 16th, 10th, 15th, 11th, 3rd, and 2nd. So you're telling me over the last 5 races, or even we'll include the last 6 races, he's got 3 top 10 finishes, an 11th, and then 2 finishes of 15th and 16th place, and you're getting plus 450 for a top 10 5 number, which he's done the last 2 times we've been at this track, plus 1,400. Look, Suarez is a guy we've talked about. We don't talk about him a ton, but when we talk about him, he's got, we just mentioned earlier, Chase Elliott, just good everywhere, no great tracks. Suarez has tracks, and when he goes to those tracks in particular, he does well. 17th at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. That's not far outside of the top 10, obviously. Similar track. 7th at the ROVAL last week, and he ran good all day long. Been a lot of not good finishes in there as well, but he had a good run of 2nd at Daytona, 7th at Richmond, 7th at Watkins Glen. So coming off of a 7th place run at Watkins Glen, took it to an oval the next week and finished in 7th place. He's coming off a 7th place run at Charlotte this past weekend at the ROVAL, Rod. So I like, if you're a patterns guy, I like it. That looks good. A place like Pocono ran 15th place there, a pretty good run. Michigan, 14th, again, somewhat of a similar track. Texas, a mile and a half, a 10th place run earlier this season. Of course, the 2nd place here back in the spring. So Daniel Suarez, a guy I didn't really have on my bingo card, but as I started looking through the numbers, it makes a lot of sense to bet on Daniel Suarez this week. The top 10 at plus 450 is a crazy number, and I don't mind the sprinkle for the top 5 at 14-1 because he's done it the last 2 times we've been here, so it's crazy. And then Zane Smith, top 10. Stop me if you've heard this before, but 8-1. Go back to 2 weeks ago before he ends up on his side, driving along the wall and rolling to a stop. He ran top 10 all day long at Kansas Motor Speedway. It's not Kansas Motor Speedway. It's just Kansas Speedway. But nonetheless, he ran top 10 all day long. Absolutely love that. That's exactly what you're looking for at a similar track not too long ago. Here, 3 starts, 23rd in the spring, 16th last fall in the Spire car, going away. So still a good run. 36th in the first start with Spire back in the spring of last year. Wasn't running well. He's been pretty decent down the stretch here. 24th last week, fine, but top 10 all day at Kansas until the flip, obviously. 3rd at Bristol, 13th at Darlington, intermediate track, okay, and 11th at Richmond. So he's had some really good runs down the stretch here lately. You like to see. Not good at Indy, not good at Pocono. You know, those things don't really help the case. But Michigan, comp track, 7th place run. He got it done there. 16th at Kansas back in the spring. 17th at Texas back in the spring as well. So, yeah, I like Zane Smith this week, coming off of a great top 10 run. He was just, you were surprised. It was like, wow, look at the 38 car just in the top 10 all day long at Kansas. Obviously, it ended up upside down for him. Well, I guess he landed on his wheels, but the day ended up upside down. But I think that's a great opportunity for him not to have hit it a couple weeks ago. You still get a good number at 8-1. Let's jump on it because we just saw him do it, and they've put together a car that could do it. So, Zane Smith, rather, top 10 at 10-1, along with the Suarez top 10, 450, and the top 5.
Boy, and shout out to Daniel Suarez and his family for being safe. That could have been a very tragic week for Daniel Suarez. So, yeah. If you didn't see, his wife, his mother, and his mother-in-law were all involved in he posted a picture of their car, and it's a pretty rough wreck, pretty severely messed up. Luckily, all 3 are okay, according to him. So, thank God for that. But yeah, that's you never like to see. No, you do not. And the safety of these cars, not just the ones that he drives, but the ones his family drives, obviously, very, very good and safe. So, lucky for that. All right, so I am going to go with. I'm going to get away from the drivers. Let's stop talking about drivers for a while. Let's just talk about manufacturers. I am going to take the Chevy over Toyota bet that Caesars has. This is at minus 110 for Chevy over Toyota. I really just could stop by saying that this has happened 5 of the last 5 races that we've had on this track. The last time that a Toyota has beaten a Chevy on this track was when Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin both beat Eric Jones and Kyle Larson in the fall of 2023. It has been 2 years since Toyota has beaten Chevy on this track. Since then, Kyle Larson was the top Chevy, the top in first place. The top Toyota was Martin Truex Jr. in 4th in 2024 in the spring. In the fall, Ross Chastain was the top Chevrolet. Martin Truex Jr., stop me if you've heard that one before, was the top Toyota in 3rd place. In 2025, it was the Kyle Larson show with Christopher Bell right behind him. And then in 2025, it was the Chase Elliott show on this one with the Toyota of Denny Hamlin right behind him as well. So, look, I'm just saying that this is an opportunity for Chevy to once again beat Toyota in this one. And it just continues to happen, right? And if you look at the guys left in the overall standings, it pretty much is a Chevy heavy type of a thing, because obviously, Denny Hamlin's in there and that's fine. And, Briscoe, but if you look at the next gen average finishes on the heat chart too, for Ryan and I Fantasy Race, seems all kind of all over the place, but my tabs are jumping all over the place and my brain's falling with it. So it's a squirrel moment for me. Las Vegas next gen average finishing heat chart for my Fantasy Race. The top 4 drivers on that are all Chevys. It's Ross Chastain, it's William Byron, it's Kyle Larson, it's Alex Bowman. Then there's Joey Logano in 5th. Then there's Daniel Suarez in 6th. Then there's Kyle Busch in 7th. The first Toyota driver on this list, Tyler Reddick in 8th with 13.86 as his average finish. Christopher Bell follows him. So again, if you just look at the average finishes overall, it's predominantly Chevy. And I mean, to get them at minus 110 over Toyota when all they've done is beat Toyota on this track year after year after year, to me, it just only makes sense to do this. And again, don't have to worry about which Chevy it is. You don't have to worry about if it's Larson or Chastain or Elliott or Byron or, whatever Chevy happens to be up there, doesn't matter so long. And think about it this way too. There's more Chevys in the field than there are Toyotas anyway. So statistically speaking, you have a better shot at cashing this anyways. So, and moreover, a Chevy doesn't have to win. A Chevy can finish second. A Ford can win, and you still cash his back so long as a Toyota finishes behind a Chevy. I mean, those are pretty simple parameters for this to hit. And I feel like this is a really good track for that to happen. So give me Chevy over Toyota minus 110 over on Caesars.
This is tough. I mean, 5 for 5. The last 5 here is hard to argue with. Obviously, it's not been, which is such an interesting thing. Toyota not being as good at this track as some of the other mile and a halves. But you look at Kansas just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Chevy came out on top, but they were not on top until literally the final turn of the race. Like, Toyota was so much better throughout the day. And you think of the Toyota camp, and you're going to give me Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe and Bubba Wallace and maybe even Tyler Reddick. Like, and in the Chevy camp, you get Captain Shook, William Byron, who we talked about, it's not been really great on mile and a halves. Chase Elliott, okay. Ross Chastain, maybe Daniel Sort, but you're getting pretty weak pretty quick. I don't know. I'm going to have to disagree.
That's okay. I mean, I just got all the facts pointing in my direction. So you've got gut feelings about Hamlin, who hasn't had a good average finish here, and all these other guys that don't have good average finish here. That's fine. That's fine. I'll trust that.
What have you done for me lately, Rod? Oh, yeah. Chevy beat Toyota at Kansas, too. So I got points there. But all right. We're going to move over to the top Ford market. I'm going to go with 2 guys here. A little bit of longer shots. Brad Keselowski at 10-1. And Zane Smith at 40-1. You love to see it for Zane Smith. So let's start with, obviously, I've already talked about Zane Smith. You know why I think he can have a good finish. Let's talk about Brad Keselowski, 11th place here in the spring. Great run for him there. Caught up in a wreck last fall, 36th. But other than that, 13th, 4th place here in the fall of 2023. 17th in the first 2 races here for RFK. So been pretty solid there. And then if you look at what has he done this season, he's coming off of an 8th place run at Kansas, By the way, top finishing Ford just 2 weeks ago. Similar track. You'd love to see that. He also wrecked at Kansas in the spring, but he was second place when that tire blew. He had a fast car there. So you like to see that. 15th at Darlington's not a bad run. 5th place at Indianapolis. Again, bigger track. Wide sweeping. 9th place at Pocono. You like to see that. 10th place at Michigan. He's had some good runs here. 5th place at the Coca-Cola 600. Good runs. And if you go back and you look at Fords on these bigger tracks, again, we've talked about it, right? The top of the Ford market is just not as tough. And go back to the spring race here. The top Ford was Josh Berry. I can't imagine what his number was to be the top Ford because nobody saw that coming, right? And I think that Josh Berry is going to repeat that because he's been shit lately, Rod. But, he'll probably win again just because we're not talking about him. But you look back at the last couple of races, Kansas Speedway, all you had to do was finish 8th to be the top finishing Ford. And that was Brad Keselowski. Beautiful, right? And Todd Gilliland was the next best finishing Ford in 12th place. So you didn't have to be overly impressive to be the top finishing Ford. It wasn't Joey Logano. It wasn't Ryan Blaney, the two playoff guys who are going to be the heavy favorites in this. But it wasn't them. And Zane Smith, remember, running top 10 all day at Kansas. Darlington, it was Chris Buescher, but he finished 10th place. That was all you had to do was finish 10th to be the best finishing at that intermediate. At Indianapolis, all you had to do was finish in 4th place, yes, but Ryan Preece got that longer shot. Brad Keselowski right behind him in 5th place, so right there for the taking. Michigan, it was Buescher in 2nd place, but then Zane Smith was 7th, the next best finishing Ford. Buescher's not there. It's Zane Smith is the top guy. Charlotte, best finishing Ford. Brad Keselowski in 5th place. So I think the Ford market's still open. Yes, it is the playoffs, and we're in crunch time, and Logano won this race last year. I'm not fading Logano because I'm about to make a case for him again in a second, but he was not a good car here last year either. Penske was good here in the spring, but it was Josh Berry who got it done. So, which again, like put all these different, it's like strips of good stats for this part of it, bad stats for this part, but good stat. Which strip is the one that comes true? I don't exactly know. But at 10-1 for Brad, at 40-1 for Zane, when we've seen a tendency for you don't have to be great to be the top finishing Ford, I like both these.
Yeah, and for Zane Smith too, the top Ford for him, it just as much as him staying upright. But yeah, look, for Brad Keselowski, it's frustrating because you hear the frustration in his voice too, especially on the radio when his cars aren't doing the way he's supposed to. So yeah, it's definitely frustrating. JDK.
We've seen them be good too. And last week, like RFK had all 3 cars in the top 10 for a little while there. They ended up not all having the great finishes, but they figured some stuff out.
Sure did. JDK saying fellow Canadian Chastain top 10 plus 115 on Bet99. Suarez top 10 plus 475. AJ plus 570.
Beautiful.
Bet95.
Beautiful.
That's great.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure Bet95 is good too, but Bet99 in particular, great.
All right, I'm going to stay away from drivers again, except to try to predict how many of them are not completing 133 laps. This is why I tell you guys, click around. This is if you're not just exploring every option on these books, you're doing yourself a disservice and the books a disservice because they're giving these things to you. You might as well start taking them because I feel like this is almost as easy money as you can get. So they're giving you drivers not completing 133 laps. They're setting the over-under at minus 125. I'm going to take the under on this one, which means that I think that there's going to be less than 2 drivers that do not complete, at least less than 1.5 drivers that don't complete 133 laps in this race. Let me just go back to you and tell you how many drivers of the last few races on Las Vegas have not completed 133 laps. Well, last year or earlier in the spring, that was tough because there was actually because there was only one. See, you like when I go there, I misdirect you guys. There was only one driver that did not complete 133 laps. That was AJ Allmendinger, who had engine trouble on lap 6. Brad Keselowski was the next best one with 194. He completed 133 laps. How about in the fall of 2024? Well, guess what? There was only, there was 2. But that Josh Berry crashed out after the first, didn't even complete 1 lap. And then JJ Yaley had electrical trouble at minus 118. So honestly, that's kind of the outlier. But before that, in 2024 in the spring, every driver completed at least 133 laps. And then in the fall of 2024, well, only one driver failed to complete 133 laps, and that was Martin Truex Jr., who crashed out on lap 3. It has been a very long time since we've seen multiple drivers complete less than 133 laps, or at least 2 drivers complete less than 133 laps. I'm telling you, this race does not breed itself. It breeds itself to cautions, but they get back out there and they complete laps. And usually the trouble happens early, and it's in enough time for these guys to get back out and just keep completing laps and laps and laps and laps. I say that because there was 9 cautions in the 2023 fall race. There was 7 cautions in the race after that. Then there was another 10 cautions for 47 laps. And then there was 7 cautions in the race after that, 9 cautions after that in the spring. So it doesn't matter that there's a bunch of cautions. This race does not lend itself to have too many people going multiple laps down. So I feel like that trend continues. And look, if we're getting away with only one driver not completing 133 laps in this, over 200 lap race, I'm okay with that. So give me the under 1.5 drivers to not complete 133 laps in this race.
Yeah, so it should be 267 lap race, I think. And so basically get to halfway, right? Can everybody but one driver get to halfway? Mechanical issues, you sort of worry about Yaley and Leg, but they should be fine. Those cars have been good enough for the most part throughout the season. And even if they go out early, you can get back in. You got to watch out for the Kyle Busch spin cycle early. That's always concerning. But otherwise, it seems like we've really been getting later in the races before people have problems. Late in this race, all bets might be off if guys get aggressive going for this win, because it means a lot to win this race if you're one of those 8. And then I expect them to mostly all be up near the front. But I agree with you. I like this bet, and these prop bets are always fun. And you can completely swing and miss on a driver, and it doesn't really matter because you get some of these prop bets, and that I think keeps it fun.
Diversify
and
your portfolio.
You might find yourself rooting for somebody to get their car fixed, and I just need him to run 2 more laps, and then you hit it late in the race, even though it's well past 133. Could be.
I know that's actually funny if you think about it too. You think about, oh man, I hope this guy gets past DVP and can get back on the track. You would probably never ever in your life think to be cheering for that, except for having a ticket on this.
That's the best when you're rooting for. Like I've had some my locals giving me some like Tony Breidinger versus Frankie Muniz in the Truck Series, and you're literally watching the battle more intensely for 27th and 28th than you are for the lead, and those are the fun bets to have. So JC is crashing out on pistachios, if anybody was wondering, and JDK his thing was supposed to say fellow Canadians, not just Canadian, but we're assuming there's more Canadian listeners out there. And yes, you always have to watch out for Hurricane Hocevar, TK pointing out. But hey, maybe it's his week to win, Rod. Speaking of winners, I like how you cheers right at the same time as I was talking about Hocevar winning. I'll have to clip that. Rod just puts his glass up right as I'm talking about.
At least he's got a fallback job at his Chili's.
He did buy the Chili's at his hometown, so that's really exciting news there. All right, I do not have Hocevar on my outrights this week, although he could, probably not. Okay. Look at the top of the board. Captain Shook at the top of the board. I can't believe anybody would want to bet on him, Rod, this day and time. But Denny Hamlin sitting right there at 6-1 on FanDuel. I don't know how you pass up a guy like Denny Hamlin. Did you watch the Kansas race 2 weeks ago? 159 laps. He swept the stages. He almost won the race at the end of the day. Track history here is the thing that makes you question it, right? It's not been necessarily great in the next gen era. We kind of talked about that earlier. He's run well. That's why we got the top 5 on him as well to kind of, help us out a little bit of a hedge and protection. But I think he's going to have a shot to go out there and win this race. Joe Gibbs Racing was so fast a couple of weeks ago. We saw it early in the season. Penske good a 1.5 miles. It translated from 1.5 miles to 1.5 miles. Falling off a little bit here lately. But Joe Gibbs has it right now. I don't see why that's not going to stop. Toyota has it right now. I don't see why that doesn't stop this weekend. Just led 159 at Kansas. He is so close to win number 60, the number he's been wanting to get to forever. He's so close to getting there. He can feel it. He's literally counting down the races. He's got 2 seasons left, and he says he's done. He knows exactly how many races it is. If he's got a shot to win this race, I would love to have money on him. I think he's going to be fast. So give me Denny Hamlin near the top of the board at 6-1. Chase Briscoe's 11-1. How do you not bet on Chase Briscoe at 11-1? I don't know, Rod. We've talked him up. He continues to be right there. I thought at Kansas he was about to steal that win until Chase Elliott did. Every time I've bet on him a lot to win this year. He hasn't always cashed, obviously. He's not won a ton of races, but he is in the race with a chance to win every single fucking week. I mean, it's crazy. I'm going to keep betting on him if they're going to keep giving us numbers like 11-1 on him. Bubba Wallace at 22-1, Rod. 22-1 for the guy who almost won Kansas a couple weeks ago. It's the same story, right? When they've got it figured out, a mile and a half, they seem to do better. He's coming in. I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about his top 5 and top 10 bets. So kind of a mini car lift here with Bubba. But imagine him go out and winning and saying, we should be in the championship 4. That is on his bulletin board. I think he's going to be a car that is going to be good this week at 22-1. He was 25-1 at Kansas. We were this close to cashing it. I think you have to bet it this week because you're going to kick yourself if you don't have it. And then, Rod, I know I did these out of order, but I did it on purpose. Because checking in at 19-1, I don't know if there's a way to go into this weekend's race and not have Joey Logano to win this race. I don't think Joey Logano will have the best car. I don't think he'll have the fastest car. But I think they will throw everything at the board to try and win this race. We saw it last year. It worked out for them. He just, we talk about Michael Jordans of the world and that playoff mode, right? They get into it. And Joey Logano and Paul Wolfe have playoff mode. They continue to find ways to make it work. It's not an even year, but could he break the curse? He's never, ever made the Final Four in an odd year. Only even years. And he's made it just about every even year, but never in odd years. But he's a defending champ. He's a defending race winner of this. They find a way. We talk about that with football teams. They go out, they find a way to win. Joey Logano finds a way. If I do not bet on him at 19-1, I would be so pissed at myself when he goes. And he's not going to dominate this race. It's going to come out of the blue if he does it. But also, Penske won here in the spring in the form of Wood Brothers with Josh Berry. And I don't think Berry's going to have it. But if they take whatever was on Berry's car for that race and put it on Joey's car, Joey was good here in the spring. He won here last fall, even despite having a bad car. They find a way at 19-1. I don't think Joey Logano is going to win this race, but I'll be damned if I don't have money on him when he does win this race because they just fucking find a way like they always do. I think you have to bet it. So Denny Hamlin 6-1, Chase Briscoe 11-1, Joseph Logano at 19-1, and Bubba Wallace at 22-1.
Yeah, and for Joey, look, there's only one thing he can do now, is that's buck the trend. And then honestly, it's if he wants to put this whole even odd year to bed, just go out and win the championship at 25-5. We'll shut up about it. Like there'll be no more odd year or even year Joey Logano.
4-time champion, and he's not even he's like 36, I think. He'd be in there's a 3-time champion, but if he does it again, and he knows they're changing the playoff format, this is his best chance to get number 4 when they've got Phoenix at the end of this deal. That 22 car is either going to be good this weekend or it's going to be bad, and they're going to find a way to finish good because it's just what they do.
Shades of Jimmy Johnson. Changes the rules? I don't care. I'll go out and win a championship, regardless of what you do on that one.
All right, let's not put Joey in the same room.
I'm just saying, if you want to change the rules and Jimmy Johnson goes out and win another one, it's all good. That's the way he rolled. All right, listen, I'm with you on a lot of that stuff, but look, the only reason that I'm shying away from anything Toyota as of late is I didn't make this point earlier because I wanted to make it now. The last time a Toyota has actually won this race was 2021 in the fall, and it was Denny Hamlin. Since then,
so they're due.
Well, I
That's
don't know
what I
about
heard.
that. I just
They're
hear
due,
they can't do it. Alex Bowman won in 2022. Logano, Byron, Larson, Logano, Berry. Right. So Fords and Chevys have dominated this race. So listen, we have laughed about this. We have joked about this. We have toasted many, many, many beverages to this and called him Captain Shook. But maybe, just maybe, this last week at the ROVAL has unshook Kyle Larson to the point where, look, listen, 5-1 for Captain Shook on DraftKings is the best price you can get Kyle Larson. you shake your head, but he actually had a really good run at the ROVAL, right? He had an opportunity.
Oh, did he win?
He didn't win, but that was a road course with SVG on it. Of course, he's not going to win. Nobody's going to win anymore. But here's the thing, right? I get it. I get Denny. I get Briscoe. I get Joey. I get Bubba. I get all of that. But this is the point in the season now where Larson's going to have to shut people up. He actually came out and ran well at the ROVAL. This could be an opportunity for him. I'm not pointing at anything else other than the fact that Kyle Larson has the third best average finishing position. I don't care, Cody. You can fall asleep and hit your head all you want. But on this track, and if we make the same argument for guys that have finished well on this track in the past, a la Ross Chastain, we have to talk about Kyle Larson. Second in 2022, second in 2023, first, ninth, 11th. I mean, he's won here twice out of the last 7 races. 5-1 is too bad of a number for him to be able to come out and do this. I understood everything about, his shook era. But much like Taylor Swift has her eras, maybe we're getting out of Kyle Larson's shook era, and he is now back to the championship era, right? He's smelling the chance to get, he survived this long, right? If he was shook to the point, and this is where I think it's funny. I'd love to have a beer with Kyle Larson. He lives close enough to me where I probably could have a beer with him one day and just talk to him, be like, listen, man, what is it like? Because you're so good. And then you go through this era where you're just not good. Like how frustrating can it be for you? He's going to have to come back and snap back sooner rather than later. 5-1 is a good enough price to speculate on that, in my opinion.
Let me pull up these statistics. You gave out these great stats for Kyle Larson at Las Vegas. So what if I told you that we could go to a track where he finished 6th in the spring, or I'm sorry, he finished 1st in the spring, led 221 laps, swept the stages. He had finishes of 1st, 4th, 2nd, 8th, 2nd, all in the next gen era. That was Kansas Speedway, by the way. Guess what he didn't do? Win. Bristol. Oh, I'm telling you guys, he's so good at Bristol. This is his week where he get off this. He finished 1st and 5th and 2nd and 5th and 1st and 6th and 2nd and 2nd and 6th. And he led 411 laps and 462 laps and 175 laps. And oh yeah, but the curse, and he shook it. But this is the week. I'm telling you guys, this is the week. I'm so fucking tired of people telling me this is the week for Kyle Larson. If it's the week for Kyle Larson, people keep saying it, but it hasn't happened. He shook right out of. Yeah, he ran great last week. Guess what? He didn't fucking win because he still shook. You cannot bet on him at 5-1. And if he comes out and wins this race, you can't tell me I'm wrong, because it's not a good bet for a guy that hasn't won in, what is it, like 21 races? It's ridiculous. Kansas in the spring's the last time he won. He is not the same guy. I don't care what his stats look like here. He is shook. He admitted he was shook. He talked about being shook. You can't bet on Kyle Larson at 5-1. It's not, it was 10-1 or 12-1. Okay, man. But even then, like, oh, Bristol, this is the try. And I can't wait to listen to the Dale Jr. download. I saw that it's out. I haven't heard it yet. He's going to talk about his top finishers parlay for Chevy. And oh, Kyle Larson's so good. We gotta bet on Captain Shook. Oh, give me some more, Larson. Why? He's not done anything in how fucking long? How could you possibly bet on Captain Shook, Ron? Look at this picture. How do you bet on this man?
Because it's glorious. Because it's glorious. Listen,
I logged into the doc today, and I just shook my head. I was like, I'm not going to say anything to him. I'm not going to bring it up. I cannot wait to talk about this. How do you bet on Kyle Larson right now? I'm so tired.
It's okay. I'm not even like thumping my chest. I'm just saying this, and I know you don't like the price, but listen, it's not going to get any better than 5-1, no matter where he starts.
Oh, it might when he qualifies
books are not
30th. I don't know.
They're going to keep it where it's at. They're not.
Probably.
This is the best price you're going to get for him. So, although this is hilarious. Who knew we would get Cody crash out bigger than Rod on Ty Gibbs and Carson Hocevar? I didn't.
Wait until he doesn't win this weekend. I can't wait. I'm so excited already.
This was the NASCAR After Dark you didn't think you were going to get, right? I got to attach the TVMA on this one because we got Cody raw on that one. All right. Well, Cody, I know we got to get you out of here in just a second. So let's go over our bets for this South Point 400 He needs time to cool off, ladies and gentlemen. So give me that one. If you're out there, get out your pen and paper. It's time to go over our bets for the South Point 400. Of course, for those of you on YouTube, the graphic is on the screen. Take your screenshots when you're ready. I started you out with Joseph Logano over Chase Elliott at -105. I then gave you AJ Allmendinger to be a top 10 car at +550. Less controversial than my winner, by the way. Chase Ross Chastain, top 5 at 3-1. Top Chevy at 8-1. Thank you, Cody. I'm giving you Chevy over Toyota at -115. I am saying that there will be less than 1.5 drivers to complete 133, or not to complete, rather, 133 laps at -115. And I gave you Kyle Larson ducking for cover at 5-1 to win the race. Cody gave you Chase Briscoe over William Byron at +110. He gave you Denny Hamlin as a top 5 car at +100. Ross Chastain, top 10 at -125. Bubba Wallace, top 10 at -110. Bubba Wallace, top 5 at +110. Daniel Suarez, top 10 +450. He gave you Smith, top 10, 8-1. Suarez, top 10. Keselowski, top Ford, 10-1. Smith, top Ford, 4-1. Hamlin at +650. Briscoe, 11-1 to win the race. Logano, 19-1 to win the race. Bubba Wallace, 22-1 to win this race. Woo! All right, Cody, we have completed all of the necessary steps in this episode, and now we can just close it out because I know you need to go have a drink after my after my outright pick.
Yes, I gotta go cool off. Thanks for giving me the space to rant. Don't bet on Captain Shook if you respect yourself. All right, yeah. Hey, Xfinity just this week, final solo Xfinity show of the year because Trucks will be with them all the last 3 weeks. Excited for that. Make sure you join us the next couple of days. Talk fantasy, of course, and we'll talk Xfinity Series. Follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. Plenty of football content, all sorts of other stuff for sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Don't bet on Captain Shook. We'll see you guys later.
Follow me on Twitter at RJVillagomez, where you can find me thumping my chest for Kyle Larson this week and really just going off about officials. That's kind of what I do nowadays on X. But yeah, love you all. We'll see you tomorrow for Xfinity. Until then, everyone, let's go racing and let it ride.